Great to be with you on this Friday of the Word of Encouragement. I trust you've had a good week, and it's always a joy to look back and see what God has done. Today we're going to look at the last chapter of Philippians. Paul is writing this when he is in prison there in Rome, the first imprisonment. And one of the themes of this book is the joy of the Lord, because we have the mind of Christ. We are thinking right. We are what we think. It is so important that our mind is under the control of the Spirit of God. And so it's wonderful to see the attitude of the Apostle Paul. And a verse that you could probably just quote immediately is verse 4. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. The Lord tells us that we are to have joy. We are to be rejoicing in our lives. We had a dear brother here in our church for years that was very key. He had a German background, and whenever you would ask him how he was doing, he would always answer rejoicing. And you think, well, how could he be rejoicing all the time? Well, he made a decision right at that point, even if he wasn't, to mean it when he said it. And I've taken that on a little bit since he's been with the Lord for a number of years now. Sometimes when people ask me, how are you doing? I'll say rejoicing. And it's something, when you say it, your heart just lifts up, because that's what God told us to do. We are to rejoice, how often? Always. And then he reinforces it again. And again I say rejoice. But the key here is that this is not a human exercise. It is, of course, the exercise of our will. But the one word I left out when I just went over that was rejoice in the Lord always. We cannot rejoice in ourselves. We certainly cannot rejoice in what's happening in the world. We can only rejoice in what God is doing, both in our lives and around the world, in the lives of believers. And it's very easy for us to be sad about ourselves, sad about our circumstances, and certainly we can be very frustrated about what's happening in the world. And if we look at the things that are human and let that affect our emotions, well, we're going to be continually struggling and frustrated and depressed. But when we make the decision to instead look for the Lord, let the Spirit of God give us the joy of the Lord, cause us to be thinking about what He's doing in our lives and around us, and then in the world, everything changes. That's why you need to read of what God is doing. Great works of God are being accomplished in every continent. Folks are coming to know the Lord. It's just great to hear of different things that occur, and your heart is thrilled. Recently, I was down in Mexico and just rejoiced to see what God was doing there and in the Hispanic world. Praise the Lord for that. And you could just go around the world and talk about all that God is doing. And then think about what God's done for you, how He's changed your life, how He's met your needs, how He's given you the right perspective when you needed it. He gave you wisdom, and He's given you health today, and you have an opportunity to serve Him. And so the decision to rejoice is a decision to rejoice in the Lord. And if we can do that, we will be able to rejoice in the Lord always. Because the Lord is always working. He will always meet our needs. He will always encourage us, and we can look through His lens at life and realize He is in control. So let's determine today, let's rejoice in the Lord.